this piece around relationship and shadow and the ways that these aspects of ourselves, right, the shadow protects, rejects, or projects in order to, it's like you don't even consciously not, it's like a subconscious protective mechanism to not let that wound get triggered or poked, right? So in focusing on relationship, and this really can, this basis of this thought and teaching can be go across all like areas of life. Let me see this. I touch that and then I say, Melissa, I can literally hear your voice. Hey Taylor. Hey Serena. Hey Angela. And so, but I want to focus on relationships because it's just like where we're at in this point in time, and the energy that is available and supporting these opportunities for healing and transition and change, and so I've been referring to it in some of my social, well, a lot of my social media about it, being shadow season, Scorpio season, Venus retrograde. I mean, all of those are sort of, things that are still outside of you, and you are the most powerful thing. It's just, we can use these things as almost guides, as like, okay, and take what resonates and like toss out the rest. So it's like we're in this energy of a few different aspects, even, collectively, like what's happening on a macro level, happening on a micro level for ourselves as the collective, these big things we're seeing in, these healing opportunities, these Me Too movements, the, claiming your voice, healing these parts. I mean, there's so much collective energy going on at almost everybody that I have come across. It's been a lot of the lower abdomen stuff along the pelvic area, female reproductive systems, hips, lower back. We are, these physical beings are these channels of supporting the ascension, supporting the alchemization of energy collectively, through individually, macro, micro. Apparently I needed to share that because it's not quite where I was going with this whole topic, except that you making clear that you are the most powerful thing. You're the most powerful thing. Your beliefs are the most powerful thing. And what I do is I come on here and I share alternatives and possibilities and potentials and mind-opening, unfuck your mindery channeled insight and information. So today we're talking about relationships. I did a post on my page today, and if you haven't read it, I have you go back and take a look, because it's going to even go a little bit further of what I'm talking about here. So as we're in shadow season right now, if you take a look at the dynamics that are happening inside your relationships, you can see that you're very likely being presented with opportunities to go within and shift a deeper belief that you have about yourself, or to release a protective mechanism, or to let go of, just these subliminal limitations or these subconscious limitations. And so, for example, how it'll show up is that you'll feel discomfort, right? You'll be having some kind of experience or discomfort, and you'll want to protect, right? You'll want to protect some uncomfortable feeling. And so what you do is let me back up. Once you have a wound, an emotional wound, which can be super challenging because it's like you really can't see it, but you can certainly feel it. And these wounds happen, and we create these protective mechanisms that we can call the shadow aspect. And the shadow aspect is this way that shows up and ensures that you do not get hurt or that emotional pain isn't felt again. And so you protect. And so either you can isolate or you can put up an unconscious, subconscious, energetic wall that keeps people away. You can feel like you really want to be having interaction with people, but it's like on a subconscious level, you're keeping yourself from having the invitations and opportunities to connect with others. Because it's like there's a part of you that when you have an emotional wound, and I keep pointing to the heart, is like your shadow will do everything that it can to make sure that you won't be triggered. So you can really want a loving relationship. You can really want to meet that person. You can really want to have that deep connection with your partner. But if there's any kind of protection, you're actually also holding away from the thing that you want for yourself. So it's like when you're avoiding your wound of like allowing the healing, the transmutation to happen, you're also keeping yourself away from the people and even experiences that you want to create. So take a look at, in your relationships, am I trying to protect myself from something? The second piece is, am I trying to reject it? Am I trying to reject something, some wound, some feeling inside that I don't want to feel because, it's like not only the pain that or the discomfort that you'll feel emotionally, but the discomfort and any changes that may need to occur in order for this inner wound to come into alignment or the shadow aspect of you to integrate. And so when you integrate your shadow, it's like you allow all of the empowered pieces of what, let's say, a shadow aspect of protection or rejection does, right? Because having let me not fast forward because I can jump all over. The third piece, all right, shadow. Second piece, all right, is, so when you're protecting, or when you're rejecting, when you're rejecting, it's like you avoid that the experience is even happening. You avoid feeling what you're really feeling. And then that manifests in sometimes bursts of emotion, anger, overwhelm, fear, overwhelmingly out of control emotions. And that is when your shadow's not integrated because you've been rejecting what is within. You've been rejecting either that it exists or even feeling what it is that you're trying to protect. And so the third is projecting. When you project, so when your shadow projects out into the world, what it does is it takes this wound that you have and it mirrors it out. It reflects back to you in an experience or in your relationship. So if you have any wounds around abandonment or even betrayal, you not only may manifest that in your relationships, and it'll actually happen, or you'll have the fears of it happening and then it be projected back to you with this mistrust between you and your partner. And so what people end up trying to do is fix the thing through their partner when really it's being reflected back for you to heal, shift, integrate within yourself. Right? So on my post earlier today, I was writing about how I had this experience where this event was happening and I wasn't invited, and I just felt this huge sense of abandonment. And what happened is it was on a physical sense, it's like Freddy Krueger's nails went into my heart and ripped down my whole abdomen. It was just totally exposed right here, this wound, this energy about abandonment, and all of the stories that started to come in beyond that. It's almost like this experience ripped open this thing inside of me, and then the stories, the fears, everything just started to come up. There was all of the aloneness or ways I'll be alone, or the ways that certain people won't be in my life anymore. right? So it's almost like this, it's like I'm getting this image of like, what was it? It's like it used to be those tricks back in the day. You open up, maybe they still have them. You open up a can of like peanuts and then like a snake comes flying out. It's kind of like how it felt, like all of the stuff that we don't love feeling, right? But it's in there. And when it's in there and it's unintegrated, you attract the experiences through your relationships. And so when you're having, so what happened was, is so what happens is that wound got exposed and then my shadow kicked in, and then I was trying to get the other person so I was trying to protect my wound by getting the other person to really understand where I was coming from. But it wasn't about that at all. It was about me, like my soul, where anytime that I'm about to take a leap, quantum leap in my life, some kind of change, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen this way, but it's like some kind of experience happens to shake things up for me to get really clear at, see, where am I limiting myself? Where is, where are the, we'll say like the shadow, how do I want to say? It's like, because there are gifts in our shadow. There are gifts in your shadow. So I'll just go back to what I was saying. So, so that was my shadow popping up and like trying to, get the other, like to change the thing on the outside of me so that I could feel better. But really what I did is I stepped back and I looked at the whole thing, and, with some help, because this was this one, it was a biggie for me. And, when we have these shadows in operation, they're at the depths and they've been working as protective mechanisms or rejective mechanisms or keeping you from that thing that you want. So for my example, it's like where I'm headed, I can't be bringing this piece of believing I can be abandoned with me, or whatever is attached to any of my beliefs about that, that I'll be totally alone or whatever, right? I can't take that with me, so it's got to be integrated. And so I took a look at the story and I was like, no, I asked myself, can I really be abandoned? No. And how am I abandoning myself? I had to take a look. And in some cases, it is having strong boundaries with other people and not having them in your life, in relationship. Relationships aren't about, it's good if you're in them and it's bad if you're not in them, or if they end, it's bad, or if it's, there's no good or bad. It's like, what are you making of it? And what are the inner stories that you have and the ways that your shadow is operating that is either aligning you with what you say you want or keeping you from what you say you want? So take a look at, again, is there any part of you in your exchange, in any of the relationships, where you are protecting a wound, projecting a wound, or rejecting a wound? And you'll know that you're not in alignment because there's a part of you that feels there should be more, that part of that feels something is off. And it's not in the other person, it's in you. What's happening with the other person within the relationship is a reflection for you to go within and make the adjustment. And so when you integrate those shadow aspects of yourself and take on the gifts versus the limitations, you have these gifts of being able to speak your truth, being able to have strong boundaries, having discernment of who should or should not be in your life. You're empowered. It's like, you take these life experiences and you break the patterns of them by taking a real look at, what is this for me? How is this for me? What is this showing back to me about my beliefs about relationship, life, myself? And so it's like beyond anything that you are maybe resisting, right? So what you resist persists. So beyond anything that you're resisting are the things that you seek, is the creativity, is the loving connection, is the depths, the expansiveness. because everything's energy. And so when you're having those expanded feelings, when you're having that elevated vibration because you have all of your aspects intact and you let go of the limitations and the bullshit beliefs and you've unfucked your mind to really see how is this for me, and by shifting your perspective you shift your entire experience, then like everything else starts to just flow into place too. So your creativity, your business expands, your I know for myself and even the clients that I'm working with is like those extra senses, more sharp or more in tune, deeper intuition, a stronger knowing. I mean, those are priceless gifts to give yourself, to have that deep connection with yourself, because that is how you become the masterful manifestor and co-creator of your life experiences versus being a victim to them, because there are no victims. Melissa says, gifts versus limitations. Yes, only way to see is to go within. That's right. Hey, Shadow. Oh my God. It's so funny. Hey, Shadow, go within. Yeah. Hey, Monica. So, I think that's when I summed it up. I just wanted to like share that with you because our relationships are our biggest opportunity for, you know, growth and expansion. I mean, if that's what you want. I mean, if you don't want a fuller life experience, if you don't want to have deep levels of connection and love and pleasure and play and, you know, then this probably isn't a conversation you'd even be listening to. But so the deeper you go within yourself, the deeper you're able to go with another. And you are your most valuable asset. So you deserve time, attention, and energy of developing a relationship with yourself, to know what love means for you, to know what your boundaries are, know what's, you know, how do I... to know who you are at a deep level and to not reject any parts of who you are. Like, all of this is happening. I had a lot of compassion for the part of me that felt abandoned, right? If I were to have seen that part of me, some of this stuff isn't easy to see, but if I had to see that part of me and then rejected it or made it wrong or shamed it, which I did move through some of that, but so much quicker. I mean, years back, this would have been, I don't even know, week, 10 days, 3 weeks, I have no idea. But these opportunities for healing and expansions of consciousness and being able to have fuller overall life experiences, right? Because it starts from within and then it's out. And that's why I say everything is within you. So you're very much worthy of your time, energy, and attention, and what you seek is within. Don't reject what you see when you go inside. It's all about like integrating and self-love. Lots of self-love. Hey, Alyssa, I'm just wrapping up. Make sure you catch the replay though. So thanks for watching and popping in.